I'll just mention, by way of closing, a little bit from my own somewhat indigenous and tribal tradition, which is the Hebrew tradition, the Jewish tradition, because I believe that that every tradition has these traces of an earthly cosmology hidden within it, if we can find them. In the Jewish tradition, we also have a word that means spirit and breath inseparably. The word is ruach. Ruach. Where I live in New Mexico, the tribal people, the Navajo people, they have a word nilti, which means the holy wind. And the holy wind gives all things life and breath and awareness. Awareness comes from the holy wind, or nilti. Well, in Hebrew, our word is ruach. It's a very sacred word within our tradition, because the ruach, which is sometimes translated as rushing spirit, is the very presence of God in the body's world, in the sensuous world. It's the wind, the moving air. And it's there in the first sentence of the Hebrew Bible. The world was without form and void, and a wind of God moved over the waters. A ruach of God moved over the waters. Very potent, very sacred for us. But it is not the most sacred word in our tradition. That would be the four-letter name of God. It's called Tetragrammaton by the Greeks. It's spelled Y-H-W-H, or the Hebrew letters are Yud, He, Vav, He. Are there any Jewish folks in the room? You? Anyone else? Ah, good. A few of us. Okay. So, Y-H-W-H, one would say. And we've heard this pronounced and written out sometimes as Yahweh. But that's not legitimate, you know, because we don't know how it's pronounced. It is so secret, the way this most holy name of the divine is to be intoned. It's so secret, it's so sacred, that we have kind of forgot how to say it. Well, all we know is that there was a great secret to the pronunciation of this name. But the mystery and strangeness lies in the fact that there's no vowels in the name. It's just Y-H-W-H. So we're not sure what vowels to put in there. Why didn't we put vowels in the name of God? Well, because there's no vowels in the Hebrew alphabet. It's just consonants, the Aleph Bet. This most early alphabet, the ancestor of the alphabets we use here in Sweden or in North America or elsewhere in Europe, the ancient Middle Eastern Aleph Bet is just consonants. Why didn't we have vowels in the writing system? Because, you see, the vowels are the breath sounds. A, E, I, O, U, are the sounds made by the unimpeded breath as it moves through the mouth. Ha, E, U, O. But the consonants are the shapes we give to the breath. B, K, D, W. The breath itself, however, is the ruach. It is the very presence of God in the body's world. It is the spirit. And you cannot make a visible representation of the invisible spirit, of the breath, of the wind. And so we didn't do it. We just wrote down the consonants. Interesting. But if you look again at the four letters that make up the name of God, Y-H-W-H, and you meditate upon these like a good Kabbalist for month after month and year after year, you'll gradually notice that there's something curious about these 4 letters. Actually, it's 3 letters. One repeats itself. YHWH. You may notice that they are the most breath-like consonants in any alphabet. Y, H, W, and then the H repeats. And if you then meditate upon that, like a good mystic, for another year, or 2, or 3, it may suddenly hit you like a fist out of the invisible that of course there is a secret to the pronunciation of this name. And it probably sounds very different from the way we've heard it said. This most holy name of the divine in the Western tradition probably sounds much more like this, if it is said rightly. Like this. That the most holy name of the divine in our Western traditions is the name that we all speak when we are conscious of our breathing. This ceaseless rocking in and out of ourselves that binds the invisible depths within us to the unseen depths all around us and connects our blood to the lungs of a swallow swooping by and to the soils and to the branches of the apple trees and to the oceans. We are of one spirit with the earth, one mind with this huge breathing biosphere. So I'll end with a little poem by Rainer Maria Rilke. He says, not to be cut off, not through the slightest partition, shut out from the law of the stars. The inner, what is it if not intensified sky, hurled through with birds and deep with the winds of homecoming. Not to be cut off, not through the slightest partition, shut out from the law of the stars. The inner, what is it if not intensified sky, hurled through with birds and deep with the winds of homecoming. Thank you, guys.